Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kiambu, Diaspora representative, the Excellencies present here, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start, we want to sing our national anthem. We'll sing the first stanza in Kiswahili. Then after that, we will hear the entertainment from the Bomas group as we start the official opening ceremony. So we will all rise as we sing the national anthem. Thank you. Now we can have the Bomas of Kenya.
Thank you very much. That was Orutu, a ceremonial dance performed by the Luo who live at the shores of Lake Victoria in the Nyanza region of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, we've now come to the end of our presentation by the Harambee dancers. We hope that you've enjoyed our dances. I now take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you very much, the Harambee dancers. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think we now embark on the next stage of our official opening, and I want to do a very, very quick introduction. I know I've done it before in the morning when we started, but I think we'll do it again. First of all, I want to recognize the presence of various diaspora organizations represented. I've seen representatives from West Africa, Sudan, some from South Africa, from America. So what I'll do is when I call upon our diaspora, let's say from West Africa, the chair will just stand wherever he is, and those from West Africa will stand and then you wave at the crowd. Then we move on to the next. So since I've mentioned West Africa, can I start with West Africa? Very good, thank you. Then I think I saw the chair of the Kenyans in Sudan, eh? Sudan? Thank you. We just launched the Association of Kenya and Sudan the other day. Then let's go to South Africa. I was expecting some, they're not, oh, okay. Thank you. Let's see those who are from the US. The US. Thank you. Let's see those who are from UK or Europe as a whole. Ah, what a crowd. Thank you so much, thank you so much. Then those from Asia, the continent. Thank you. Those from Australia. Thank you so much. Those from Southern Africa, did I mention that? Southern Africa, they had stood before. Southern Africa, yes, Balozi and our team, thank you so much. Anybody from Latin America? Caribbean? East Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda. Oh, let's give him a clap. Thank you so much for coming. Diaspora returnees. Yes, Ms. Wairegi and your group. Thank you so much. These are people who have really been helping me. I've been running this office through their expertise. So, Diaspora, those of you who are still outside there, when you come back, there's a place for you. I'm getting very valuable contribution, and I'm in great partnership with our diaspora returnees. Then let me also recognize the presence of our various ambassadors. I will start with, we have Ambassador Mike Oyugi from Vienna. You want to just wave so that they see you. Ambassador Isaiah Kabera from Australia, Canberra. Ambassador Tom Amolo from Abuja. Ambassador Johnson Weru from Brussels. Ambassador Jean Kimani from Gaborone, Botswana. Ambassador Lazarus Amayo from London, UK. Ambassador Koki Muli from New York. And we have also within us here, Ambassador Purity Muhindi, who is the Director for African AU. I have Ambassador Nelson Dirangu from Economic and Trade, WTO, it's known as WTO. We have Ambassador Muburi Mwita, Director for Great Lakes. I'm scanning the crowd. Any that I might have left out? Yes, and let me also recognize the presence of various heads of directorate from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade who are here. I can see colleagues, Lucy, Kirutu, Henry Obino, Salim. Salim, you want to just wave? Obino, let's. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think now we want to officially open this session. I want to report that we have our guest of honor, who is our Ambassador Robinson Gitae, from our ambassador, Kenya's ambassador to the US, who will be our guest for honor for today. But before he comes to deliver the speech, I would kindly request that we hear from our main sponsors, who are Saiton Investments. They are here, and I would call upon the representative of Saiton Investment to come forward and tell us, deliver their speech. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency Ambassador Gilai, Your Excellency Deputy Governor to Kiambu, Director of Foreign Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Washington Olo, various ambassadors, members of the diaspora, and all protocols being observed, I want to first say thank you and a very good morning to everyone. It was great to just see so many ambassadors, so many various dignitaries, so much representation from all across the world. It really shows where we are as a country and Kenya's importance to the diaspora and how seriously we really take the diaspora initiative here. Being a private sector representative, I first want to just introduce a little bit about who Saiton is and what is it that we do, especially when it comes to the diaspora. We're an investment management firm with a team of over 70, and we focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's to deliver the best returns in different investments to Kenyans all across the world. That includes here, local institutions, global institutions, Kenyans in the diaspora, and anyone who's actually looking for great returns in investments and in real estate across the market. When it comes to the diaspora, we have a very, very, very big focus. I'll come to it a little bit later, but the first is to just recognize that Ambassador Gidai, I want to say thank you for graciously opening our office in Washington, D.C. Earlier this year to allow us a platform to be able to serve the diaspora, to be able to connect with them, and to be able to provide them a safe and trusted investment opportunity back home. So I'm sure everyone knows why we're here and why is it that we love Kenya, but if you're actually looking at it from our point of view, from a private sector point of view, from an investment point of view, why is it that we love Kenya? For us, it's the most, oops. No, that's fine. For us, it's the most attractive investment destination in the world. If you look at the global markets, you now see US and Europe are in conundrums. They're still trying to figure their way around after the global financial crisis. Then you look at Latin America, which is now suffering a little bit, but they're still doing quite well. Then you look at Asia, and Asia has historically done well, but it's now tapering off. That leaves you with Africa. You look at South Africa. South Africa is now quite developed and past the development curve where you can now say that the areas that are remaining are North Africa, West Africa, and East Africa. We can rule out North. We can look at West Africa and we can say it's a largely commodities-driven market. That leaves us with only East Africa. And then when you look at East Africa, Kenya stands out as the lead and the most important investment destination that we have here. It's the center of trade. It's the center of financial services. It's the center of innovation. We have seen large multinational companies such as Google, IBM, General Electric, Coca-Cola, all set up their regional headquarters here in Kenya. So for us, when we actually take a step back, we look at Kenya as the most attractive investment destination in the world. And for us, then, we can't appreciate enough every single ambassador out here and every single Kenyan looking out at the diaspora to be able to bring the investment opportunity back home. If you look at the diaspora's importance to Kenya for us, we see it as remarkable. They are now one of the largest foreign exchange contributors to Kenya. They contribute to investment, they contribute to trade, contribute to the transfer of skills, which makes us as a country more innovative. they contribute to entrepreneurship, we bring new ideas, we're able to benchmark ourselves now to global best practices, and to find new and innovative ways of doing things. As Kenyans, we're very entrepreneurial. So when we look out and we see what are the global best practices, and then we look back home, it's fantastic that we have the diaspora. So we saw it and we realized that what is it that we need? We need a trusted investment platform for those in the diaspora looking to come back home. And for us, and with partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we love events like this because it brings together the key minds and the key decision makers when it comes to the diaspora looking to target investment opportunities back home. But not only investment opportunities. If you look at it, it has far-reaching effects for our economy. Like I mentioned before, there's a transfer of innovation. That means better companies, more efficient companies, Kenyan companies looking to expand into the region and go global. At the end of the day, it only means one thing. It means better GDP growth, better economic development in Kenya. It means better standards of living and a more prosperous nation. So on behalf of Sight and Investments, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to be here today and really to acknowledge and appreciate every member of the diaspora and the organizational committee that's put together this fantastic forum for us to all come together and share ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Saiton. Your Excellency, allow me to, before I welcome the next speaker, let me say that we have the apologies of our Cabinet Secretary. Actually, indeed, is the one who invited you, and I know most of you were expecting to see her here. She has sent her apologies. There was another engagement that she had to go to outside the country, Khartoum, and she's not here with us. Our PS also was supposed to be here, but as most of you are probably aware, the events that are unfolding elsewhere in one of our neighboring countries forced him to travel urgently, and that's why he's here, and he sent his apologies. They are with us here in spirit, and they would have really liked to have been present. Otherwise, that is the position, and the guest of honor, we kindly request that you take note of that. Now, let me also introduce once again the Irish ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Vincent O'Neill. Maybe you could. Yes. As I mentioned in the morning, my office and the Directorate office from his government are in partnership. And of course, in the morning, those of you who are around, you must have received a very, very stimulating presentation from our dear colleague there, Tom. So that is that. I also realized that we could be having a representative from Mexico. Don't know whether she's here, or probably she'll be coming later on. Mexico is also another country that we are partnering with on these issues of diaspora. I think she is not here at the moment. Probably she'll be coming later. Let me now call upon the representative of the Diaspora Consortium of Kenya, Dr. Emmanuel Mutisia, to come and say something. Thank you.
Chief guest, His Excellency the Ambassador of the Embassy of the Republic of Kenya in the US, Ambassador Robinson Githai, His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Kiam County, Mr. Gerard Githinji, ambassadors present, distinguished guests, my fellow Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know it's Christmas, and most of us expected to see chapatis instead of tea. But we hope that before the end of the day, we'll see several chapatis, because that is what we are used to, given those days, for those of us who come from the village. Now, from the onset, I wish to take this opportunity to bring you warm greetings and best wishes from the Diaspora Consortium of Kenya and Kenyans abroad. I also wish to thank the organizers of this event, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for according the diaspora this special privilege of being here today to share the progress of mainstreaming the diaspora into the national development agenda and exchange knowledge and ideas on how to expand and strengthen this engagement. Your Excellencies, I believe I speak for the diaspora if I sincerely congratulate and thank the government for the deliberate efforts you are making to bring the diaspora together as part of this great nation. We feel both valued and proud to be Kenyans, for we are truly committed to travel together with our brothers and sisters on the voyage to build a more prosperous Kenya for us today and for future generations. Our mission as Kenyans outside Kenya is to promote perspectives that harness the potentials amongst the diaspora for Kenya's development. We have a strong commitment which is not based on what our government can do for us, but what we can do in partnership with our government in support of this great nation's development. But why is the diaspora that important? We, the diaspora, are a vital link, a bridge between Kenya and the rest of the world. Our technical knowledge and understanding of different cultures and languages, if properly utilized, Your Excellencies, is essential in augmenting our government's efforts in fostering stronger bilateral engagements. We all know, fellow diaspora, that the creation of the Diaspora Directorate in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been instrumental and remains a very important link between the government and us outside Kenya. We acknowledge the efforts that the Directorate and the leadership of Bwana Washington Olo has made in engaging us, and we look forward to more substantive and productive engagements to fully harness diaspora for our country's development. Excellencies, this year has been phenomenal for Kenyans in the diaspora. We have seen increased interest in support of diaspora initiatives with the launching of the diaspora policy and foreign policy documents which seek to empower us Kenyans abroad to make greater and more effective contribution to national development, the role that we can play in building this nation. We have also other collective individual diaspora initiatives that Kenyans abroad have started. An example being postgraduate initiatives proposed by some of us. One of them, a graduate research program that informs research for development of this country, an initiative led by one of us, Professor Kefa Otiso, in the US, who is the president of the Kenya Scholars and Studies Association. Indeed, this is a clear evidence of the critical role of the diaspora, as well as our government's keen interest in our active participation in the development of this country. As a diaspora body, that was created as an outcome of the Easter Conference. Your Excellencies, the Diaspora Consortium of Kenya is an independent body of leaders of registered diaspora associations that seeks to work closely with the government in building a stronger diaspora agenda. Over the last several months, we've worked together with the Diaspora Directorate in developing a framework of implementing that key document, the diaspora policy, especially in building a National Diaspora Council of Kenya framework to enhance communication as well as help in mapping the diaspora in preparation for voter registration. Fellow diaspora, I'm happy that the CEO of IEBC is going to be with us here today, or he is already here with us. As one of the most critical issues to the diaspora is actively participating in the democratic process of electing our government, both at county level and also at national level. As this is one of our democratic rights, as clearly enshrined in our constitution, as well as in the diaspora policy. It is unfortunate that we didn't participate fully in the 2013 general elections. Your Excellencies, we have around 18 months before the next general elections, and we would like to be facilitated to ensure that we do not miss this crucial exercise. We are, however, worried that not much has taken place in terms of moving the process forward. We want, therefore, the Diaspora Directorate to tell us before the end of the 2 days what efforts have been made to make sure that this is actualized, and we will be happy to inform you that we are ready to assist wherever possible in fast-tracking the process. Fellow Kenyans, one of the key components of implementing the diaspora policy is the commissioning of the National Diaspora Council of Kenya, a body to strengthen the role of the government, to eliminate overlaps and promote consistency in the management of diaspora issues. This will help to develop and implement Kenya diaspora policies, and it will be a board to manage diaspora affairs. I know tomorrow the director of the Diaspora Directorate will do a detailed presentation of the Council's draft proposed framework, which will be the first step in building that council. As diaspora, we would like to see a qualified body of diaspora experts who are able to articulate diaspora affairs in the best interest for all. The council should not be politicized and must be well constituted and representative to ensure in-depth harnessing of diaspora contributions to this great nation. With this new board, it will be important to ensure that the diaspora is fully engaged in global activities that take place in Kenya and that are led by our countries of residence. An example being the Global Entrepreneurship Summit that took place in July of this year. Of course, the UN General Assembly, other UN initiatives, the AU meetings, among others. And on this point, and on behalf of the Embassy of Tokyo and my Ambassador S.K. Maina, I would like to point out that Kenya will organize the 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development next year, the first to be held outside Japan. It will take place in August of 2016, and the Kenyans in Japan Association is fully involved to ensure that our country gets the best of this conference. Your Excellencies, given this increasing and growing role of the diaspora, it has now become clear that there is a need to elevate the place of the diaspora in the government. Today, even with the immense contributions of the diaspora, both in resources and skills exchange and transfer, affairs of the diaspora are handled by a directorate, a level which is not concomitant with our contributions. Why not have a diaspora ministry? India, Ireland are an example of countries that have taken diaspora contributions seriously. Why not Kenya? A diaspora ministry will help expand our role, better package our contributions, and increase our presence in key areas of this economy. We'll be very grateful if such a consideration is made in the coming months so that we can move our agenda forward. And as we move forward, we continue to reaffirm our commitment in serving our country, and we'd like our government to take us in as partners in this process. As the Diaspora Consortium of Kenya, we propose to undertake a few things in the coming months to enhance this contribution. One is capacity building programs, both at national and county levels, to share and exchange international operational standards in the workplace, best practices, to get the best out of the hours put into work by our committed, hard-working, and patriotic Kenyans, especially our civil servants. Two, develop a diaspora media outlet that reports and showcases our initiatives and contributions to national development here in Kenya. And three, start a Kenya Diaspora Day, a day that brings the diaspora and the government, especially the presidency, together at continental or regional level once a year to address issues of common concern. These are issues that in the coming days, DCK will develop to move our engagement forward. In closing, Your Excellencies, we, the diaspora, fully acknowledge and appreciate the government's commitment in transforming Kenya. We appreciate the government's concerted efforts in fighting the canker of corruption, building a secure Kenya, and improving service delivery in this country. But we know that not much progress has been made. We note that we need to work more as a government, and if we bring in the diaspora, perhaps we'll make the achievement of some of the set agendas by the government come in quicker. We all have a role to play, and as the diaspora is ready, possess the skills, the capacity, and the willingness to work for Kenya in Kenya at all levels and contribute to this process. Today and tomorrow, I do hope we will meet new friends, develop new networks, and create and share new ideas to strengthen the role of the diaspora in this country. And my fellow diaspora, It is our call to continue doing our best in carrying our mantle of not what the government can do for us, but what the diaspora can do for this great nation. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the diaspora. God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for those remarks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is His Excellency Gerald Gakua Githinji, who is the Deputy Governor of Kiambu County. He has accepted graciously to be with us on this auspicious occasion of the diaspora homecoming. Your Excellency.
Thank you. I am pleased and humbled to be in front of you this afternoon. Your Excellency, Mr. Robinson Gedai, Ambassador of Kenya to Washington, all Excellency Ambassador present here, Excellency Ambassador from Ireland, Dr. Vincent O'Neill, organizers of this event, all colleagues from the diaspora, good afternoon. When we gather here and start deliberating, why are we here? Why are members of the diaspora with us this afternoon and for these 2 days? One of the reasons I know is you'd like to make Kenya a country that you are proud of. You'd like to make Kenya a country that is competitive in the world stage, not only in Africa, not only in East Africa, but in the world. So we ask ourselves, what is competitiveness? Competitiveness is being able to deliver long-term productivity. That is, having the value of goods and services per unit of human capital and natural resources increased. It is also the ability of Kenyan farms, Kenyan individuals, to compete successfully in the global economy. Why would you like to be competitive? When you ask me, when I look at Kenya and I look what is our biggest problem, it's the number of people who are living in abject poverty, medium poverty, high-level poverty, but poverty at different levels. So we would like to create prosperity. And there are 2 dimensions I'd like to talk about of prosperity. One dimension is wealth creation, not riches, not money gotten overnight from some deal, but real wealth that is consistent and grows and is able to you're able to leave it to our descendants. And also is also to create sustainable employment and sustainable wages. Competitiveness is not making Kenya the country with low wages, where people get paid the least. It's not having a weak currency so that we are able to export our products. And it's not only just creating any job, but creating high-value jobs. So for each one of us here, enhancing Kenya's competitiveness must be our overarching priority. That's why we are here. That's why you've come to listen to other colleagues from the diasporas. In many studies, Kenya has come out to be an increasingly attractive investor destination. Nairobi is ranked the most attractive destination for FDI in Africa. This is from a PwC study in 2015. Kenya is one of the top 3 investment destinations in sub-Saharan Africa, and the most preferred in East and Central Africa, from a study by Ernst & Young in 2014. Kenya is also singled out as one of the 7 outstanding emerging markets worth investing in globally. And Kenya is the only African country is in this list. And this was a report from Fortune magazine in February of this year. And private equity firms prefer Kenya to other African countries owing to its prospects for growth and open market policies. So Kenya has also been measured recently in the ease of doing business, and from 2015 to 2016, it has improved from position 129 to position 108. This is all information that's out there. And some of the key things that were found about Kenya: it's the most improved economy globally in the ease of doing business. It's ranked 3rd. Out of 49 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya is ranked 9th. And it's ranked 28th as one of the areas where ease of credit uptake is high. That is moved from position 118 to position 90. So these are some of the benefits of investing in Kenya. To look at what has happened, what has been done. In IT and telecommunications, there have been major strategic developments, raising investors' optimism. There have been investments in energy, where we find Kenya to be one of the top countries with renewable energy. In transport and infrastructure, we are doing quite a bit. And in diplomacy, and that's why we have our diplomats here, Kenya has taken trade diplomacy instead of just politics. So we are creating an environment that's attractive for investment. However, if you look at the ease of doing business, we are not yet there. Although we've had a lot of improvement, we are in the bottom 1/3. Number 108 means we are not in the top countries. We have a lot of countries who are ahead of us. And if you compare ourselves in competitiveness, we find that in a number of areas, we are still not yet there. So there's a lot of work to get the basics right. There is a lot of work to strengthen the social and institutional foundations. There's a lot of work to ensure that we address some of the key challenges. And I'll be remiss to stand here and talk of challenges without talking about what is ranked Kenya's biggest challenge, and that is corruption. Corruption is ranked as Kenya's biggest challenge, and this is perception of corruption, reality of corruption, stories of corruption that hit the press. And while people say corruption is not only in Kenya, it's very important to address it as a subject. What this impacts is financing. People don't want to finance an environment that they feel they're not doing the right thing financing. And therefore, attracting investments needs us to address this issue. I was introduced, Gerald Gidenji, Deputy Governor. I am from the diasporas. I was in the UK for 8 years, came back in 2009, came back as the Managing Director for East African Breweries, the second biggest manufacturing concern in the country. The biggest manufacturing concern in the country, but the second biggest country next to Safaricom, who just sells air. So if you look at which is bigger, we can ask. But so what can you, from the diaspora, bring to Kenya? You've been to all the countries. You represent all the countries of the world. There's no country you can go and not find somebody from the diaspora. So, and you've seen developments. You're seeing development is not moving from a from a dirt muddy road to a maram road. It's having roads that are passable. So what can you, as an individual, come and contribute here? Is sending money alone sufficient? Is it? Are you ready to come and roll up your sleeves? Are you ready to come and address the issues that challenge Africa, the issues that are challenging in Kenya? Are you able to come and join politics like I did? Because we sit outside and say this thing is wrong. How can we as individuals come and practically be involved in addressing it in the smallest way? Because each one of us can be able to contribute. When we were setting up Kiambu County, we looked at a number of areas that needed to form our strategic pillars. One pillar was education, the other one was health, and in health we've had very good progress. We have medicine in hospitals. Sounds very basic, but medicine in hospitals we have. We have doctors that don't go on strike because they get paid on time. Sounds basic, but other counties are having problems. We have hospitals that are getting cleaner, more hygienic, so that you don't go to hospital and become sicker than you found. You got there. And on top of that, we have a plan that is going to add over 1,000 hospital beds by increasing the number of hospitals in the county. And this is only in 3 years. We also looked at improving security, our fourth pillar. In security, we used to have a number of murders reported every night. Now I can tell you we'll go for a whole week without any murder being reported. I know those of you who are from capitals, where murder capitals, this might sound like 1 week is too many, but it's not. So security is something we focused on. Then we also focused on urban planning. And this is where you come in. There's no way we will develop unless we have planned development. And what happened before, we used to have somebody has money, a piece of land, and they go and build. One of the biggest money-making schemes was somebody is able to buy 100 acres, 1,000 acres. They subdivide it into a tenth of an acre, an eighth of an acre, and sell it to very, very many people. And people have sold them to you. And that becomes your piece of land. You own a bit of Kenya. But if you remember what I was talking about is competitiveness. When we do this, are we creating value or diminishing value? When you take a big piece of land and then subdivide it, buy a small share and do nothing with it, or build a house, we are actually diminishing value. So what we focused on in Kiambu County is to get all these big pieces of land to create communities that are fully planned and developed. You will have heard of Tatu City, which had gone through a number of court cases and issues. Now it's back on. The investments is starting. Unilever, a global multinational, has agreed to set up a factory there for the region. They are initially investing $70 million, going on to $200 million within a few years. In Ruiru, we have DevKey Steel, which have put up an additional plant, $70 million. There are a number of investors who are investing $10, $20 million in Kiambu. So create the environment where people can come and invest. We have Miga, which is already started as the development. We have Tilisi, who have used small industries as the anchor for investment. We have Alma from Saiton, which is over 200 houses coming up at Roaka. And all these are developments that you all may be interested in. So what I am saying is that Kenya recognizes, Kiambu County recognizes the importance of diaspora investment. We are committed to supporting you to bring your investments here. You will probably have a number of investment ideas. So feel free to bring your investment ideas to us. Let us debate them. Let us see how we can add value and help you to invest. And let us see how we can help you to grow your ideas and your investment in the county. We are open for discussion and prepared to meet with you. If you have a serious group and you want to invest, there are many opportunities. I know the fear sometimes is when you're far that your investment might get lost somewhere, or you might get somebody who you cannot trust. So we'll try and create some trust relationships that help you to vet, to discuss with the people you're investing with, so that becomes a seriously successful investment. So welcome, join the government, come and invest, come back and work here, bring us your experience, but your having gone out of Kenya does not make Kenya any poorer. It actually makes Kenya richer. And we recognize this, and thank you today for coming and being with us. I was with the last Diaspora conference, and I'll continue supporting it. We have a lot of export. One of the export is sports. We have some of the best runners, some of the best Olympic participants, and we invite you to support them whenever they come to the country you are in, and so that it's not just the runners, but they feel at home. Welcome them. 2 months ago, I went to Chicago for the Chicago Marathon, and as usual, we had the number 1, number 2, number 1 in ladies, and we sat together and were able to welcome the runners and make them feel at home. So thank you very much, and we look forward to your continued support of our great nation. Finally, may God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those very good remarks about your county. I believe the diaspora you have had where to invest is Kiambu County. I now have the pleasure and to invite our guest of honor, Ambassador Robinson Githai, Kenya's ambassador to Washington, USA. Most welcome. Let's give him a hand clap.
Thank you so much. I think before I begin, let me bring you the apologies of our Cabinet Secretary, Ambassador Dr. Amina Mohammed. She had to travel on an urgent mission to one of our neighboring countries for the purposes of securing peace, security, and development. She really would have loved to be here with you. But that's the nature of our job. Sometimes she has to travel on very short notice. So I'm going to read the speech. She asked me to come and represent her and also read the speech, and which I will proceed. We are also privileged that we have the Irish ambassador to Kenya, and my fellow ambassadors, colleagues, Kenyans, the diaspora, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be here this morning at this auspicious occasion dedicated to Kenyans in the diaspora as a homecoming event. Let me also take the opportunity to welcome you back home during this festive period and to thank you most sincerely for honoring my invitation to come and join us for this reception. Our meeting today is taking place at an exciting period of Kenya's history. We have just successfully hosted the 10th ministerial session of the World Trade Organization, the first such conference to be held on soil of Africa. Earlier on, as most of you are aware, we were blessed to host His Holiness Pope Francis at his inaugural visit to Africa. In July, Kenya also successfully hosted the 2015 Global Entrepreneurship Summit, the highlight of which was the attendance of President Obama, a Kenyan diasporian. As for next year, we are looking forward to host the 14th session of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, in July 2016, and the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD, in August 2016. Those are real blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, these events only confirms Kenya as a leading brand in Africa, but further demonstrates our resilience as a country. For the second time, Kenya has been voted the world's leading safari destination by the World Travel Awards, WTA, giving a major boost to the tourism sector. In addition, the World Bank's 2016 Ease of Doing Business Index cites Kenya as a third most improved nation in its business regulatory reforms across 189 economies. We are therefore poised for greater things in this country, and welcome all of you, especially members of the diaspora, to play their part and join the rest of Kenyans towards the development of this nation. Our deliberate policy to engage the diaspora in national discourse is out of our recognition of the immense potential of the diaspora. Diaspora diplomacy is a major pillar of Kenya's foreign policy and is aimed at integrating Kenyans abroad to contribute to the national development process in line with the aspirations and goals of Kenya Vision 2030. Diaspora remittances, currently estimated at over 115 billion Kenya shillings, and accounting for approximately 3% of the country's total GDP, contributes positively to the growth of our economy. Further, we recognize the enormous potential in skills, knowledge, and expertise by the Kenyans abroad, which as a country we need to leverage for our own development. A couple of months ago, we held a Kenya Diaspora Easter Investment Conference that was very well attended by various stakeholders, including the diaspora returnees, government policymakers, and the private sector. The event underscored the importance of all of us working together to promote engagement with the diaspora. One of the issues that arose during the conference was the need to come up with communication strategy to address the current information gap among the diaspora. By their very nature, the diaspora is scattered all over the world, and you can find a Kenyan in the corner of the globe. Despite of where they might be and the challenges, Kenyans maintain strong ties back home and are always thirsty for real-time information on diverse issues from their motherland. I am happy that shortly I will be launching the Diaspora Communication Strategy that will create a standardized way to interact with the diaspora and other stakeholders with a view to securing commitment and support in driving the government agenda for the diaspora. Distinguished guests, although we recognize and value the development potential of diaspora remittances, transaction costs for money transfer still remain high and is a hindrance to the inflows and financial inclusion. I am happy that the African Institute for Remittances, which is a country we are privileged to host, is now operational. Kenya will undertake studies and explore innovative ways to reduce transaction cost of money transfers and thus unlock the potential of increased remittances. In carrying out research, The Institute will also provide statistic data that will assist in measuring the impact of remittances on socio and economic development of the African Union member states. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Diaspora Policy, which the government launched a couple of months ago, proposes the establishment of a National Diaspora Council of Kenya, NADICOC, to act as a management board for the diaspora. The diaspora will play an advisory role to the government on diverse issues concerning Kenyans abroad, including education, health, and investments. My technical team has worked on a concept note on the establishment of this important organ for the diaspora, and it will be unveiled to you for comments and input before it is adopted by the government for implementation. As I conclude, I wish to urge all Kenyans in the diaspora present here today to continue raising our flag high by promoting Kenya's prestige and image in their host countries. You are my first line ambassadors. For too long, we have depended on non-citizens to package, manage, market, and consume our tourism products. We urgently need to change this narrative so that the Kenya diaspora is at the core, not just on promotion of our excellent tourism products, but also being major consumers whenever on holidays. I want to challenge you. Each one of you should endeavor to bring at least one friend to visit Kenya next year. One diaspora, one tourist. One diaspora, one tourist initiative. Lastly, let me take this opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And thank the Deputy Governor of Kiambu County for welcoming us here and for showing that Kiambu is a country to invest in. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to declare this Diaspora Homecoming Reception officially open. Thank you. Okay, it's now my pleasure to officially launch the Diaspora Communication Strategy. And here it is. Do you have some copies we can give to, yeah? Please give them copies so that they can read this very important strategy. This will sort out all the issues that you diaspora have on communication and even assessing the government officials. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that launching of the Diaspora Communication Strategy. Now, there are people going around. Make sure that at least you have a copy. I think we have more than enough copies. You can get a copy. The copy is also available in soft. So what we'll do is that we'll also try and email it those that we have their email addresses, we shall email them to the diaspora and other diaspora associations. Those of you from the chair of diaspora associations abroad, we will give you more copies. I think we have enough, maybe 10 copies, which you can go home. When you go back to your countries, you could share with your members. We have come to the end of the official opening ceremony, and we want to invite you for lunch. There is a very important part that we didn't go through, and that was the highlights of the Easter investment program. So what will happen is that when we come back after lunch, before we get the presentation on the diaspora voting, we'll have that short presentation. It will take about 10-15 minutes. Just to remind ourselves of what we said during that time and what we said that we're going to do. So we shall be reporting on how far we've gone, what still needs to be done. Otherwise, Your Excellency, thank you very much once again. And let me now take the opportunity to invite all of us for lunch. Lunch is served down, just right behind you. There is a tent that you walk down. Lunch will be served down there. So all of us are invited. Thank you very much. Now we resume, just a minute. We resume at 2 o'clock. Is that okay? 2 o'clock, we resume. Thank you.
The Italian, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see your.
My cell's on.